Very good evening. While we are still waiting on some of our colleagues to join us, in the interest of time, we'll get this started. So, a very warm welcome to all of you. And this is the first Guru Speak edition of 2024. And I'm really happy to have all of you here as a part of it. Just for some of you who've joined us recently, Guru Speak is an initiative that we started a year ago, and we've been inviting external speakers to come in and address us on various fields that they have expertise in. So, on that note, I'm extremely happy and proud to invite this speaker who needs no introduction, right? Because, well, he's literally introduced chargeback to all of us. Now, if not all, at least tell me how many of us Googled ferociously as to what chargeback is when we got an interview call? At least I did. Well, that's the whole point. Okay, our scientists did too. So, so we are not far behind. So that's the whole point. Chargeback is a niche, and he found that niche. He, along with Sri, found that niche, identified it, and he's made such a flourishing business out of it. And all of us are so proud to be part of Chargeback Gurus today. And that exactly is the entrepreneurial spirit that we're going to talk about. I had the privilege to accompany Suresh a year ago as he visited St. Joseph's College, incidentally, his alma mater, where he addressed a group of about 400 students. And he spoke about his entrepreneurial journey with so much passion that I felt it's so important for as many of us here in Chargeback Gurus to know and understand that story. So here we are with Suresh, who will be walking you through his journey and all of the amazing experiences that he's had. And at this, we're going to have his talk for about 20 to 30 minutes, and post that we'll open it for Q&A. Enjoy the session. Over to you, Suresh.
Good evening, guys. Before I continue, how many of you here can understand Tamil? Who doesn't understand Tamil? You're the only one. Okay. I think they can get a translator. So, அனைவருக்கும் இனிய புத்தாண்டு நல்வாழ்த்துக்கள். You know, as we are marching into 2024, I'm very excited again. Every time I'm here, I'm super excited. And this is another exciting journey for us for 2024. We have a fantastic leadership team. We have great plans for 2024. So I'm super excited. So today, actually, I wanted to talk about my entrepreneurial journey and what are some of the core pillars that I carried in order for me to continue my different ventures. When I was doing a research, right, I wanted to give something exciting. The first thing when I researched about entrepreneurship, there was a shots that came in. And thankfully, I am not selling punake, so I believe that actually I'm qualified to be here. Okay, so I have about 20 years of entrepreneurial experience, and if I have to tell my story in 30 seconds, I am a son of a mechanic and a familyhood where there was no studies. I was the first one in my family to finish 10th grade. I was the first one to finish 12th grade. I was the first one to finish college. I was the first one to go to the US and start a venture in the US, and here I am. So, thank you. So today my core objective is if I can share my story and it can inspire few, if not all, I consider that a success. And today I also wanted to talk about, after my journey, I also want to talk about what does it mean to you guys? Where do I see you guys implementing some of those core functions is what I'm going to be talking about. So before I continue, I want this to be an interactive session. I don't want it to be a monologue. I want it to be a dialogue. So let me ask you a question. You guys can actually raise your hand. Who are all leaders here? Raise your hand. Okay. And who are all here thinking they are not leaders? Can you raise your hand? There is no vulnerability here. Raise your hand with boldness. There is no judgment. So please raise your hand if you think you're not a leader. லீடர்னால கொஞ்சம் பேர் தூக்குனீங்க. லீடர் இல்லைன்னா யாருமே தூக்கல. Okay, I wanted to see at least 5 people raising hand thinking they're not leaders. Come on. You raised your hand, right? Okay. So let me ask you a question. You said you're not a leader. Who's leading your life? Okay.
Along with my family.
Okay. So mostly you. You make your decisions for your life. So that means you're leading your own life.
Exactly.
Correct?
Yes.
So in one way, in my angle, you are a leader. Okay. Leadership doesn't mean that you have to manage people. You don't need to manage an army of team. Leadership comes within. Please have a seat. How you lead your life within is the way you lead the life outside. It is very rare for somebody to be great at actually personal life and not being great at actual leadership. They both goes hand in hand. And your qualities of life will reflect on qualities of your professional life as well. Okay. I wanted to raise a hand, you to raise a hand and tell me, what does leadership mean to you guys? Anybody? Give me a few points, bullet points about what is leadership to you. Suresh, you? Okay.
And then make sure people will follow you.
Okay. Anybody else? Prem?
Inspire people.
Inspire. Great. Excellent. I love that. Anybody else? Yes. Okay. Spoken like a true assistant manager. He gave 5 points. Excellent. Those are really good points. In order for you to be actually a leader, you need to have a vision. Every time actually I started a business, this is my 4th successful venture. So every time I started a business, we always had a vision and we never changed our vision because your values, your details can change, but your vision cannot change for a company. If you set yourself as a global leader in chargeback management, that has to continue no matter whether you have been in business for 1 year, 2 years, 10 years, or 20 years. So the vision has never changed on all our entrepreneurial journey that we have had before. And oftentimes, actually, when you are about to start a business or if you're about to start a leadership, you don't know what your vision is. You're promoted and you don't know what is expected out of you. And one thing I've learned about entrepreneurship is you don't have to figure out things yourself. That I didn't learn in my studies. See, what you learned in academics is completely different from entrepreneurship. With academics, don't copy, don't take help, don't reinvent the wheel. You cannot do what something did. With entrepreneurship, I'm very happy we can do all these things. I don't need to figure out how data science is done. I can have people like Prem. I don't need to figure out how IT is done. I have Suresh to do it. I don't need to figure out how operation needs to be done. I have SK to do it. That's actually one basic fundamentals of leadership. Oftentimes you think, oh, I have to be very unique. No, you just have to do what is available better. That is what we have always done. We have identified a place where it is actually unstructured and we figured out a way to do things better than anybody else. And we were able to expand and do it better. Right before we came into play, chargebacks was there. We are not the first one to introduce spot chargebacks, but we were the first one to set the bar for the chargeback industry. And the way we were able to do is identifying the right people to work with us. It's extremely important for you to know what your vision is. And if you do not know what your vision is as a leader, you need to talk to your mentors or to your reporting head to find out what your vision is. What is it I'm here to do? That clarity needs to be there. How you get to the vision can be different. It changes as we progress. Today, I might think I have to use 100 analysts to do the work, but tomorrow I can use an automation. So my values and the way I do things differ, but my vision is always the same to be excellent at what I do. And that's why the vision is very important. Now, I also want to talk about actually what are some of the core things actually I focused on. And the first thing actually I wanted to focus on is attitude. What's the difference between a leader and not leader? Either you follow somebody or people follow you. How does people follow you? There are certain traits you would see with an entrepreneur. The first thing is an attitude, right? As he said, I was the first one in my family to even complete my 10th grade. And I had no clue how to select a course when I was doing my 12th. I had no clue there is even counseling and then there is engineering. The government allocated the college to me. I had no clue like I have to go and select it. But one thing, when I went to the US, I was the first one in my family, and we didn't have internet at the time. You guys are aware of it. I had to figure out everything by myself: what college to apply, what degree to apply, what does my future looks like. I have always told myself, I'm not going to have an answer for everything, but I will figure out as I get along the way. When I went to the US, that's a different story. I cried like a baby because I thought that's a bad decision. Because I was left alone by myself. I didn't know what to do, but I always carried the attitude in my life that I'm going to figure out. I went to the US with $10,000, and my first semester fees was $10,000. I had no clue what kind of rational thinking I had, thinking I'm going to complete like actually another 3 semesters and I need to have $30,000. So I spoke to one of the guys, and he said, knock on every single professor's door and they might be gracious enough to give you actually an aid. I didn't care about it. Believe me, every day I knocked on every single person's door. Whether I know the subject or not doesn't matter. Let him give me the aid and then I'll figure out how to do my course. I knocked on the doors for almost 2 months. And one fine evening around 7 p.m., there was a professor there. He said, this is the third time you're knocking on my door. What is it you want? I said, I wanted an aid. He said, wrong question. You need to first tell me what you're going to offer me. And he asked me a series of questions. I didn't know even a single answer, but I said, yes, I know that. So he was graceful enough to give me the aid and the teaching assistantship. And that's how my whole life journey evolved. And what I figured out is when you go for an interview, when you actually meet with somebody, when they're asking you to actually propose how you're going to be promoted, don't take a no for an answer. Say yes and figure out the answer. Because oftentimes what I've seen is the nuances doesn't matter. People don't focus on the nuances. They focus on your attitude to say yes and do things. That was the first attitude that I carried within myself, that no matter what it is, I'm going to say yes and I will figure out how to do things. Because oftentimes, if there are 10 people applying for the same, posting, you will see just one person having that positive attitude. The rest doesn't matter, because that's a quality of true leadership, right? The attitude really matters. Now, chargeback gurus, you all see the rosy picture. And as you all know, entrepreneurship is not a rosy picture. There are a lot of thorns, and then the roses come at the end. You guys were actually at the end of the tunnel where we had to go through a difficult time. So I was actually having very difficult time. Shri was having a very difficult time, because the first 6 months of starting the business, we decided to go to a trade show. We created a beautiful booth. We shipped the booth through FedEx. And then that was a $7,000 booth we paid, and FedEx lost the package. So here are two entrepreneurs exhausted trying to call FedEx, figuring out when they're going to deliver the booth. They said the booth got held up in Chicago. There is no way we're going to deliver the booth tomorrow. So we are sitting there with a $7,000, trade show that we have booked, figuring out what to do. So I told Shri that you go to the networking event that previous night, you do it. And I went to actually Kinko's, which is a part of FedEx right now. We printed a banner, and the banner had chargeback gurus. And I had a statement said, we lost our booth, but we promise we'll never lose your dollars. And we put that. And Shri shared the story with everybody at the networking event. There are a lot of people who came in to find out, how did we crack this? How do we have a booth without any banner or trade show materials? But we did that. The reason I'm sharing that story is trying to figure out a way to do things is an attitude. We all live in a world where we have so much amenities right now. The answer for the world is in your palm. If you are telling yourself, oh my God, life is not fair to me, life is not advantageous to me, I'm not being promoted, my life is crazy, I'm suffering, I can tell you, it's an attitude. Even if I provide the best scenario, if you do not change your attitude, chances are you will always try to find the empty cup. So how you see life is totally up to you. And that is one of the trademark actually a leader. With a minimal opportunity, if you can make it actually an attractive way to actually see the light, then that's a quality of a true leader. And you all actually have the opportunity, because if you are a leader, chances are people are going to follow you. Every single thing that you do, every single thing that you actually say matters. So you need to ask yourself, what is it you want to portray to the people who are following you? I would say, even if you're not a leader, right? I mean, you said you're not a leader. Today you're walking, okay? You can run, you can eat, A guy who cannot walk, who cannot actually eat, you're inspiring him. He would say, I wish I could walk like that lady. So you might think, who is there to actually, look at me? Who is actually I'm inspiring? No, you don't know. Life is full of opportunities. Every day you walk, you see somebody, you are either motivating somebody or you're demotivating somebody. And you need to ask yourself which part of the equation you want to be at. Okay. So attitude really matters in an entrepreneurship. We had actually a big loss in 2017. MasterCard made a rule change and we had to lose almost 90% of our income. And we had actually a question about, do we let go of people or do we put our personal money and grow the business? And we both made a conscious decision that we are going to actually go ahead and put the money and we're going to continue to expand and look where we landed. Entrepreneurship attitude is also about taking risk. You have to make bold risk. I don't know how many of you have listened to Sundar Pichai's video. People asked him, what made you get promoted as a CEO? When he spoke to his manager about Chrome, the manager said, nope, Chrome is a bad idea. Microsoft is already setting the way. Safari is setting the way. We are not going to do Chrome. But he worked on that side project without letting anybody. And when he was actually able to present the vision to the board, they approved it and it worked. And that was the bold move that made him the CEO of Google. I'm not saying do side projects without letting your manager know, but I'm saying sometimes actually you needed to know when to take that. And how do you make that bold move is by having your awareness. You have to be extremely focused. It's not like you make wild bets. Sometimes you do not have the luxury to make wild bets, but if you align yourself with your manager, they will let you take the wild bets. So your attitude is a big thing. That's the number one thing if you want to be a true leader or you want to be successful in entrepreneurship. The next one I wanted to talk about is resiliency, right? Resiliency is important. Before I continue about what resiliency meant for Chargeback Gurus, any definition or anything you guys wanted to share about resiliency? What does resiliency means to you guys? Any volunteers? Okay, that's a good point. Okay. That's a good definition. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so resiliency for Chargeback Gurus is about no matter how the market is moving, no matter what the competition was saying, we continue doing the good efforts. We never actually let down our guard. When we started the company, a lot of people actually said, you guys shouldn't launch the analytics that gives 100% transparency. We had competitors who came to us, warned us not to do it. We had competitors who came to us, told us, don't take a percentage on the recovery. It's suicidal. But we felt we want to be different. And no matter what the market was saying about us, we had a lot of negative feedback from the market. I mean, the competition, but we still continued with it. And that has paid off for us over the period of time. Now everybody is following the performance-based model. And that is also one of the attributes of resiliency. Being an entrepreneur, you need to be resilient. You need to actually keep yourself focused and continue what your vision was. We also have doubts. Several times I've asked myself, am I a good entrepreneur? What the heck I'm doing? I have spoken to Shri. I think she's a lot more stable than me. So I have actually asked her, why are we even running this business? I'm having self-doubts. But always the answer that I get was, it is okay for you to feel that way, but it is not okay for you to react on it. That's the difference between resilient and non-resilient. We all are humans. We have self-doubts. Do not ignore your self-doubts. You're going to have a question. Why is the world unfair? I'm doing all the things I can, but the company is not promoting me. My manager is being actually a jackass. Why is this happening? It's okay to have your self-doubts. Identify a person who can validate your questions. It is extremely important. The problem comes in when you do not have anybody to speak. If you can find a right partner or a right friend or a right mentor, I can tell you that goes a long way because we are the self-critics for ourselves. The world sees us as 50% full. We see us as 10% full. We think we are 90% empty. The world sees us that he is 50% full. That's the difference between how we think about us and the world think about us. So you need to ask yourself, do I have somebody that I can rely on? Do I have a mentor? Do I have a friend? Do I have a good partner where I can talk about my innermost feelings and get validation? And it has research proven that people who have mentors or a friend or a good partner where they can share the vulnerability are the ones who are very successful. And that is what it's going to help you create the resiliency. You know that this is a negative thought and I'm okay with the negative thought, but I'm not going to react to it. That's resiliency. You have a negative thought, you immediately react to it and you make quick actions. That's going to lead to failure. How many of you have thought, man, I should have never reacted to the situation? Raise your hand. I guess the three guys in the middle are saints. So I'll come and talk. I will learn from you guys why you're not raising your hand. So resiliency is key. The third important point, I'm sure a lot of these guys will agree, is focus. We live in a very, very distracted world. Agreed? How many of you spend time on Netflix or actually YouTube or Insta? Okay. You guys can be honest. I don't see some of them raising hands, which means you have never seen Netflix or heard Netflix. So how many of you feel you shouldn't have spent so much time on things that you did? Okay. Well, I am actually guilty of that too. And one of the key factors for entrepreneurs is focus. Entrepreneurship is lonely. It is not a place where you can go and have fun and invite a lot of people. And it's because I have to draw the line. Oftentimes, I've been invited to parties in the US as well as here. And it is very tempting to be a part of that. But once you actually cross the line, there is no coming back. So you need extreme focus on how you want to lead your life because you're on the top and you're visible to the entire chain in the organization. And it is a very, very lonely place. I'm not saying you guys have to be lonely. The lower you are on the chain, the better it is. You have less friends or more friends. But when you are in a distracted world and you don't plan your life, nothing gets done. When I actually start my day, the first thing I ask myself is, what is it I wanted to do in a week? What is it I wanted to do in a day? I have my key priorities that I have prioritized. And people who have interacted with me directly, people who have spoken to me about projects, I'm sure you guys have actually heard me asking, what's the deadline? When do you think this can be completed? For me, deadline matters. It's not only the deadline, it's not the quantity, it's also the quality of work that is being done. How do you actually focus on providing quality? Only when you put 100% awareness. If you're not aware, I know that you all wake up every day, come here well dressed, not to screw anything up, right? Because that is the wrong thing. If you wake up, you get dressed and you come here and you want to screw chargeback gurus, that's a very different story, right? That is how not to tell the story. But I understand actually everybody has the intention of doing very well because we want to impress our boss. We want to be recognized. We wanted to do well for the company. But having the thought is one part of the equation. Implementing it is another one. You have that intention, yes, but how focused are you? And one of the things actually I'm not a fan of is when you go to a meeting, people actually have a cell phone and the cell phone is ringing and they or they try to switch off the cell phone. So my question is, if you're not answering a call and if you're trying to switch it off, why bring the cell phone in the first place? And that's where people follow you. You as the leaders have the responsibility to teach the rest of the gurus how a manager has to conduct himself. I also actually observe what's going on in my surrounding. When you are able to observe things, the only way you'll observe is when you have more awareness and more focus. Focus is extremely important, whether you are an entrepreneur, whether you are a manager, whether you're a director, focus is extremely crucial. And trust me, we live in a very distracted world. And I don't know if I would have been in this position if I had all the internet, Netflix and YouTubes and everything when I started my career, because I don't have to do anything else. But right now, I have to put extra effort to ignore all the distractions and focus on what I wanted to do. And I'm not saying that you have to be focused all the time. When you're working on a project, when you're working on a deadline, in a day, have maybe 3 or 4 good action items that you want to complete. And tell yourself, until I complete that, I'm not going to look at anything else. And oftentimes, the people that are surrounded by you, they'll follow you because they're not doing that. And I make it a point when I walk into any meeting, I do not carry my cell phone. I have 10 or 15 calls coming in every single time, but I make it a point to give my commitment to the meeting because they have asked for my time. And I set the tone for the rest of the team. I don't even need to call somebody and say, don't use my cell phone. Don't use your cell phone. They see me and they'll follow you. That's the value you guys have. That's the power you have as a leader because they will follow you every single step of the way. And that's why it matters whether you're following a good leader or a bad leader, right? Right now, the political climate is very different. I don't want to get to that. And it questions myself. We have all the books and all the training to be good leaders. Why are they not giving it to political leaders? If they could have given at least 1 or 2 books, I believe that the world will be a better place. But I'm saying we have great responsibility of inspiring people, and focus is extremely important. One of the areas that has also helped me is my mind was very, I was always running. I was thinking of the future. What does it actually have to do for the future? But also, only if you're self-aware, when you're calm, you can make better judgments. The decisions actually that we have made sometimes have made us a superstar. Sometimes they've made us stupid, right? The same decision that you make, if it is a success, you are celebrated. If it is a failure, people will accuse you. And how do you reduce your mistakes? There is no way you can be a successful entrepreneur without making a mistake. Mistakes are a part of the chapter, but how do you not repeat the mistake? How do you minimize your mistake? That comes with focus and awareness, right? Meditation has helped me so much. You guys might be thinking, what's a meditation can do? I bet you continue doing meditation for 10 minutes. There are guided meditation now that can take you to a very long way. And I bet you the people who are actually following you, the people who are surrounded by you, they will see the difference in you. And I have seen that with so many people that I have requested them to do meditation, and it has done wonders for them. Okay, so please follow that. And also, entrepreneurship is not about what we do right now. It is about what we do in the future, because future is exciting. We are working on something great, and we are looking at actually the future will set the growth for the company. What we do right now is maintenance. We're continuing to actually invest in something that we have already created. But what we are going to create in the future, outbeat the competition, will set you actually for the future. And for that, focus is important. How do you split the pie in your day? I allocate my day for reading. I allocate my day for meetings. I allocate my day for focus time to do something. If I do not have the structure and the focus, there is no way the company would be at a place where it is right now. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the only one responsible. I'm only 10% of the equation. 90% is what you guys have done. In order for me to be actually even identify the right leaders, I have to be aware. When I actually go to an interview, I prep myself. I'm sure the HR team knows it. There was actually a recent process re-engineering candidate that was hired. I spent about 2 hours prepping for that interview. I read through the LinkedIn profile. I spoke to the candidate, and he made me aware of a lot of things, but I needed to know what questions to ask. That requires a discipline. I never get to an interview with an open mind thinking, I'm going to go and wing it. That never works. Hard work and commitment always pays off. Luck is only a smaller factor, right? Luck is not everything. Your hard work and commitment. The difference between actually ideas and execution is where everybody fails. You all have ideas. If I ask you how we have to grow Chargeback Gurus, I'm sure there is 50 stories that you all will share. But how many of you are willing to execute is what it makes a difference. So the difference between an entrepreneur and a follower is executing on the idea. If you have the commitment, you have to follow your vision and have the plan to execute it. That sets you apart from everybody else. Now, when I talk about entrepreneurship, I'm talking about intrapreneurship, which is I see every one of you here as entrepreneurs, right? That is extremely important for you to be focused. The next one is actually open-mindedness, which is my favorite, one of the most important things. I wanted to ask again, what is open-mindedness to you guys? Volunteers? Listen, okay. What else? Taking feedback, yes. Excellent. What else? Be ready for a change, yes. Open-mindedness are all these great points. It's also inclusion, right? As a human, we want to be included, we want to be recognized, and we want to be actually, valued. Those are the three things we always look for, right? If I'm a part of the company, I want my manager to come to me and say, you did a great job. If I'm working for a company, I want the company to say, your idea has helped me, achieve a greater project. We want to be recognized. We want to be heard. And the way it makes a difference is when you're open-minded. Now, I think a lot of you guys know the word FPR was given by one of the gurus who worked for us in the US. So there was an idea about, okay, we need to create a product and we need to create a slogan. What do we do? Shri and I were actually contemplating a lot of ideas. And then she said, you know what, let's put it in a group. At that time, there are about 50 people working. We said, let's put it in Microsoft Teams and let's see what kind of response we get. There are a lot of fantastic ideas that we couldn't even think of. And one person came up with the idea, FPR, which is fight, prevent, recover. We immediately took it. We actually gave them a certificate and we implemented that. Leadership is also about knowing when to include people and when not to include people. It's not democracy, where every single decisions you make, people have to have a say in it. And I always say being a good leader is you need to know when to wear the 3 hats. Can anybody judge what the 3 hats are? Except you, because we spoke about it a few minutes ago. What are the 3 hats you should wear as a leader? So I'll tell you, the first hat is the military hat. You need to wear the military hat, which means there are certain things your followers cannot cross. They cannot actually say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. That's a no-no. That is a military hat. You need to know how they have to respect you. That means you have to draw certain boundaries. Okay. I don't go and drink with them because that's where I draw the line. The next thing is actually the friendly hat. You needed to know when to be friendly with them. And the third one is family hat. When they are having a difficulty, you need to wear a family hat and you need to have compassion for them, because a guy is performing really well and all of a sudden he's not performing for the day or the week. That doesn't mean actually, he's a bad guy. You needed to know how to approach him. If you tell him it's all about KPI, you got to produce, I don't care what you do, you lost the leadership credibility with him. You need to score points with them just like the way they are scoring points with you, right? And every single time you think about actually including them and having compassion for them, that's where you score the points, which means that creates a lot of trust and loyalty with them, right? When my leaders are not there for the meeting, I don't judge and I don't actually have my own thoughts before I come to the meeting. I ask them what happened. Because oftentimes when you talk to the leaders, when they make a mistake, and I ask them the question, did this mistake happen deliberately? If their answer is no, I tell them, you know what, then that's okay. Can you promise me that this mistake will never happen again? If their mistake is yes, if their answer is yes, then great. And I ask them, have you identified what created this problem and how you're going to solve it? If I get a 3 yes on a problem, then there is nothing to blame. How do I point at somebody when they have done 90% right and when they're slipping at 10%? Now that's where I scored the brownie points with my leaders, because they're looking for validation. They are already guilty. They are the first one to know they made a mistake. You don't need to make it even uglier. You need to take a diplomatic approach in supporting them and telling them, I'm with you. And when I had to speak to the higher ups, I tell them it's my mistake. Never throw your people under the bus. That's where you score your brownie points and your loyalty. If you point at them and you tell them my team did this and it's not me, you lost your credibility right there. Openness is also about actually bringing the right people for your discussions. Openness is also about, it's not your idea, it's not their idea, it's an idea that wins, right? There was a marketing guy who actually was putting together a brochure. We had 2 different ideas. One was my idea, another one was his idea. And he said his brochure is going to do really well. So I told him, let's put it in a groups and let people do the voting. His brochure came in at 80% and mine came in at 20%. That shows how weak I am when it comes to marketing. And I told him, actually, he was very scared to come and present the results because he thought I'm going to be offended. I told him, present the data. He said 80-20. 80% of the people said my brochure is great. 20% said yours is great. So I told him, I'm so glad I hired the right guy, because if I am better than you would have been fired, because I don't need you. You are better than me. That means you're validating to me that I hired the right person. And when you actually make that kind of judgments and you crutch your ego out, you're going to be a winner. And people love to do those things. Creativity stops when they are vulnerable. If I know that if I make a mistake, my manager is going to blast me. They're never going to be creative. They're not going to be open, right? And you guys as leaders have to invoke the entrepreneurial spirit in your team. They have great ideas. You guys need to know how to bring that to them. If you tell them it's okay to have a bad idea, there is no bad idea. It's always an idea. Whether the idea works or not is the difference. And for you, you need to have the openness to admit that it's their idea and it's okay to make a mistake. If it is a great idea, you give the credit. If it is a bad idea, you take the fall. And that's what leadership is about, right? And you need to ditch your ego or else it's not going to work. And when actually I was here, I tell people that gratitude goes a long way. The title that I carry today, the respect that people give today, it's the title. It's for the title that I carry. If I throw the title out, I walk on the street, I'm just a regular person. I always keep that in mind. I don't want to get overwhelmed, or I don't want to have that attitude that I've created everything and I'm the CEO. And oftentimes I'm switching my chairs with Damo. I told them I want to be in the other room and I want to be in this room because that's an ego check for me. And I wanted to carry that attitude that everything that happens in your life is for the title that you carry. The moment you throw the title in the corporate world, nobody cares. But people follow you. If you have made a meaningful difference in their life and they know that actually this is the wonderful leader I was able to follow, I learned something, no matter actually whether they are with you or not, they follow you. I still had so many wonderful guys who have joined at the beginning of the Charge by Gurus. They reach out to us. They have shared their, birthdays. They've shared their family photos. They're still in touch with us. It's because I believe that one way or other we were able to change their life and we were able to respect the decision they have taken, and that goes a long way. You have the ability to inspire and motivate. And if you look at your day, right, it's like a tank. Energy can neither be created nor can be destroyed, right? So whatever you do today, either you're putting a positive energy or you're putting a negative energy. Every time you complain about your life, you complain your manager, you complain about the food or the smell that happens here, okay? And you complain about the lights, air conditioning, whatever it is. Ask yourself, does this really important? What do I want to put it in my tank for today? Am I putting the positive information here or am I putting the negative information? What I mean by that is, where do you focus? Wherever you focus your energy, it expands. You get good at it. Either you're going to be a good complainer or you're going to be a good positive thinker. Ask yourself, what do you want to be good at? Now, what you do in a leadership also follows at your home. You go home, you complain to your wife why the house is messy. Why is it actually the food is not great? Why is it I have to do all the work myself? Ask yourself, I have a limited energy. What am I putting right now? Right? The more you put negative energy, that's going to actually reflect on your attitude. That's going to reflect on your focus. That's going to reflect on your openness. And the people will know. Before even you could realize that people are going to realize it. So one way to be actually aware, right? It all goes to awareness, right? Only when we are aware, we are able to do wonderful things. Ask yourself, have small write-ups, either in your wallet or in a place for in a mirror or in other places, right? Gratitude, open-mindedness, positivity, have those keywords that can reflect your mind, right? And it can bring it to your awareness. See that during the day. I have those small cheat sheets with me that helps me actually go and look at it's like actually aligning to my equilibrium, right? I tip off a little bit depending on the instances, but looking at those small notes will bring it back to the place where I wanted to be. Because it's all about progress. It's never a perfection. No matter how many webinars or seminars I have, you're going to still do what you do, but you can get better if you keep yourself aware. And what that awareness means to you is different for different people. You might think a cheat sheet will help you. Somebody might think I'm going to put a reminder in my phone. So ask yourself, what is important to you? How can you keep yourself aware every time you feel you're tipping off? Have those automatic reminders. Don't make it manual. If you can automatically remind yourself, that's the best thing that can happen. I have a screensaver on my personal computer that actually puts all the things I wanted to focus, right? On the last thing I wanted to focus is generosity, right? So let's actually talk about generosity. What does generosity means to you? Yes, giving is one. What else? Okay. Excellent. 2 points. What else? Yes, absolutely. That's a great point. Forgiving others for their mistakes or for the lack of, you know, ability to satisfy you is also actually generosity. So what has COVID taught us? Anybody can tell what COVID taught us? Don't tell me wearing a mask. That's different. What COVID taught us is we all are connected. How many of you believe that? Okay. I breathe, I breathe out, and you breathe in, and my infection can come to you. One person had this issue in China, and the entire world had it. That tells me that actually how connected we are, right? We sometimes operate that we are the only one in this earth. And we don't think about how it is important for us to know everybody is equal. And that is why actually generosity is so key. When you think we all are important and we all are connected, your attitude about people and things will change. How do you treat your family members? How do you treat somebody who's traveling in a bus? If your mother is actually elderly standing and you have a chair, you're sitting, what will you do? You'll offer the chair to your mother and say, please sit. When you travel in a bus, when you are actually, you see an elder, how many of you have offered a seat? Okay, good hands. Have you done it all the time? Okay, so the people who are not actually offering the seat, you guys might have to think about it. And also what it means is when you are generous with your co-workers, it changes. When you say, I'm going to be generous with my time, even though my clock off time is 7, but I'm going to spend the time because this guy needed my help and support, that's generosity, right? The biggest crime that can happen is taking somebody's time, money, and effort. When you guys are actually, bringing in an electrician or actually you're bringing in a plumber, tell me how many guys think you are a great negotiator? How many of you negotiate? You see an auto rickshaw guy, you want to negotiate, you feel like, golly, I saved 10 rupees. How many of you negotiate? Raise your hand. Everybody, because that's in your DNA, right? But I can tell you, those 10 rupees and 20 rupees or 50 rupees that you're negotiating for will not make a big difference in your life. But the guy who's actually doing a living out of running an auto rickshaw or selling a pot or a pan, that makes a big difference in his life. We don't think about it because that's the way we were taught. I wish the academic could have taught how to be great leaders and how to be great human. We were never taught how to be good humans. Forget about being a great human, being a good human. And the only way you're going to get better and better at all the things that you do is when you think about generosity and when you're aware of it, because awareness will make you align. And when you think about generosity, it will tell you the right things. So next time when you're thinking about negotiation, ask yourself, am I going to really be good at it by just negotiating? Is this money really going to make a difference in my life? And I would tell you, you will have more energy to focus on the key things. When you're haggling with somebody, when you are keep on actually pestering him to lower the cost, you are putting your energy on it. Remember, your energy is limited. And you need to ask yourself where you're going to put your energy at. Do you want to put negotiating for 10 rupees? Or do you want to put your energy making more that truly makes a difference in your life? For example, I might as well spend my time and energy with my family and get the relationship better with my wife rather than haggling for $10 or $15. And generosity also comes with an attitude that everybody is equal. Everybody is interconnected. What he does affects me. What I do affect others. When you do that, you will treat people with respect. One of the important things that people will look at you as a leader is respect. Respect can be earned. Respect should also be given. You will not be a great leader if you don't know how to give. What you don't give, don't expect in return, right? And I would tell you, like people who have felt they got a great bargain have lost lots of dollars. And I have seen there is a 1 to 10x correlation. You negotiate 1 rupee with a guy thinking you got a one rupee bargain, chances are you're going to lose 10 rupees. Because the math adds somehow. And I have seen it because the energy that somebody is sending on you, saying that, you know what, I'm so angry and frustrated that he's taking advantage, but I do not have a choice. I will go and deliver the service. He's sending a bad energy on you. And you ask yourself, your tank is limited and you need to put more positive. Is this where you wanted to put your energy? Those are the things actually which are very crucial. And also part of Guru's family is also inclusion. Inclusion is key. If you look at our core values, why do we create heart? Respect is important. How do you give respect and earn respect when you know we all are interconnected? I am not superior. The guy who cleans this office is equally important to me. And when he actually goes outside the office and I go to the street, we both are equal. And knowing that he has got a job to do, just like the way I got the job to do, and not ignoring what he does and giving him the respect and the generosity of your time and attention and giving a simple appreciation. How many of you have walked up to the, our cleaning crew and said, you're doing a phenomenal job? Okay. Excellent. I'm happy that you guys are living the values that we thought of. So thank you and more gratitude to all of you for doing it. People who have not done it, I highly encourage you to do it because it's not going to take your energy out. In fact, it gives you a positive energy for you when you show appreciation to others. It goes a long way to them. Okay, never undermine anything that others do, whether it is here, whether it is outside. Part of being a guru, it's not a professional guru. That's why we didn't name it as professional guru. We just named it as a guru because we want it to be your personal life. You are a guru in your personal life. You're also a guru in your professional life as well. Okay. So please think about generosity. Please think about we all are connected. Feel free to give your time, money, and energy, and it goes in multiple folds. There was a Buddhist monk who told me, the more you give, the more you are taken care of. I asked him, why did you not say the more you give, the more actually, I'm going to get in return? He said, it is not a transaction. I put I put actually $100 in mutual funds. I'm going to get $120. He said, it's not mutual fund. It's not investment. The more you are giving, whether it is time, money, or energy, the more the universe will find a way to take care of yourself. You never have to worry about not having your necessities met. I truly believe in that. My life transformed, and Chargeback Gurus in 2021 was valued at 1,000 crores when we brought in Fall Furious. I never thought in my million world that our company would be that. And we are the first company in the chargeback space to bootstrap, never raised a single penny. And that was one of the biggest accomplishments we ever had. And I never thought this was going to be there. But because of the influence that I had from Sri, I believed in giving more. And the universe had a way to actually pay back. But I never thought I'm going to pay back because that was not my intention. As much as it was actually tough for you to imagine that, because we all are colored by our parents. You guys agree? We all are colored by our family members and friends. Agreed? So don't follow what you have learned if it is not helping you. And I'm a living proof that when you believe in openness, when you believe in generosity, when you believe in focus, when you are actually believe in giving it to others, your life will be beautiful. Okay? Thank you so much for your time. And I hope this session can bring some positive influence in your life. And next year, if I have an opportunity to be here, I would love to hear your stories. Now, one last thing I wanted to tell you. I want you guys to do a homework. I wanted to give a homework. I'm not going to give a deadline because it's your homework. Ask yourself, what is your story? And write for 30 seconds. What does your story look like? And I would tell you, the moment you write your story in a paper, you will make efforts to make the story better. Until you write the story in your paper, you never know what you are. And this is your takeaway today. Write your story and see how you can paint the story better. You have the brush, you have the paint, and you can paint a beautiful canvas. So don't put it in your closet. Put it to your hands, put it to your mind, put it to your awareness. And I can tell you that people will appreciate the canvas story that you have created. And you will have a lot of followers who are going to follow for a great story. Thank you guys, and wish you all a wonderful 2024.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Suresh. That was really heartfelt And thank you for making time as well, because I know how packed a schedule you had. Guys, we are opening the floor for some questions. This is your opportunity to see him one on one and ask questions. So, any of you have any questions on entrepreneurship, leadership, or any of the points that he mentioned here today, or anything even outside of that? Perfect. Super. Over to you, sir.
Insights we get from this. My question to you is that regarding the focus, you said a leader should stay focused, and you find it very difficult. A lot of distractions you have. You try to be focused, right? Any tips for us how to be focused on what we are doing?
Don't keep your cell phone with you. If there is one tip that I can give you, because I mean, it's not a joke, whether you sleep, whether you're eating, whether you're in a meeting, a simple takeaway is make it a point not to have your cell phone with you, because the cell phone is always wanting your attention. And the phones and the apps that we use are designed by psychologists and data scientists to gain your attention. Not to blame you, they are designed to grab your attention. So the question is, are you going to give the gadget more power, or you're going to take control of it? Eliminating the distraction. See, I always believe that we all have great attitude within ourselves. We all have wonderful nature about generosity and all the attributes that I talked about, but it is covered with dirt and dust. And you need to know how to clean that up. The more you carve yourself, you will see the diamond within yourself. And those are the 5 qualities I talked about, right? And you're going to shine with radiance. So ask yourself, what is distraction to you? And also ask about your friends and family too. Who's pulling you down? Always. There are some family members, I can tell you, you talk to them, you feel that you need to go to a hospital. They will drain your energy, right? I have always seen people who drain energy from you because they are depleted of energy. Surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with people who uplift you. You're down, you call them, you feel energized. You go to them and they inspire you, seeing the better part of your life. Because as pessimistic it is, our life is not as bad as we think, right? We all have a great life. We all have great amenities. And if you go to Ukraine and other places, it will give you actually a different opinion. And that's why I tell people, please do charity. You will see your life is not as miserable as their life is. And also it gives you a sense of accomplishment and generosity that you're giving your time. So clear your distractions. That is one step. And distraction can be anything, right? You have a tough family member. You always have a fight when you get into the family, or you're attracted to alcohol, or you're attracted to cell phone. What is the distraction to you? Where do you spend most of your time? If you are able to reduce that into half, you will have so much energy and you decide where you want to put your energy. Did that answer your question?
Definitely. Thank you, Suresh.
Sure. Any other questions? So they always say there's 2 sides to the coin. If you ask me, I would say I was doing great. If you ask Sri, she'll say he sucks. For me, actually, being an entrepreneur, right? It's not a 9 to 5 job. You're working 7 days a week. You're thinking about it. And that's a struggle that I have. Sri and I had thankfully, I married a fellow entrepreneur. If I would have married another lady, I would have been single by now. I don't think anybody would have tolerated me because I put so much energy on creativity and business. I hardly have time. But I see a therapist, and she has helped me find the balance in life. And as much as actually I know all these things, but hearing a mentor say that, I was able to include my openness to incorporate things, right? The balance is always the act that we try to do. It's not perfect, but I aim to get closer, but I'm not there yet. I have a long way to go. So being an entrepreneur, that's one of the challenges you always have, is because you're responsible for actually 350 people. You're responsible for their payroll. You are shackled by your customers. You are shackled by your perception in the industry. You're also shackled by your employees. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but when you feel responsible for so many people, a 9 to 5 job will not cut it. And when you have to expand your hours beyond 9 to 5, then it's all a limited energy. Where am I going to put my energy? And that's why I said, if you're starting a business and you're able to find a partner who can support it, that's the best thing that can happen. And for me, the best thing that has happened in my life is getting married to Sri. I wouldn't ask for a better partner to actually join me, because she was very supportive in the business. She has put her heart and soul into it. It was easy for me to a certain degree. And Not that I actually taken it for an excuse and carried with it, but I always thought myself, I need to give it back to her my time. And that is also one of the reasons actually we decided to bring Falfurious Capital Partners. We thought, okay, this is the right time. The team is growing. So we need a partner who can actually carry that vision for us. And we need to have the right partner who doesn't disrupt the culture. So we brought in Falfurious Partners, we brought in Tim, and they're doing a phenomenal job, which we are very happy that they're carrying our legacy. And now it is the time for us to focus on our marriage and the relationship, which I'm doing it. But it's tough for both of us to abandon the baby that we created. So we are still there actively talking to the leaders, helping them in any way possible. But at the same time, I'm not putting my focus 200% on this. Now I would say I'm putting actually less than 50%, which has given me the time to balance. Again, with women, what I have seen is you don't need to satisfy them, but the thought of actually you are making the commitment to satisfy them is good enough for them. We men oftentimes think I have to satisfy them, if not they're going to be upset. No, in my experience, when they know you're making an honest effort to give your time, to respect them and be open about it, that's 90% of the battle over. And that is something I learned the hard way. I wish somebody could told me before, but that was half the battle. And that was true with Sri too. The moment she knows I'm giving the time that she deserves and I'm making my effort, she's okay not meeting me 100%. Even if I give 30%, she takes it because she knows I'm making the commitment for her. So if there is one thing you can take away, guys, to your home, you don't have to meet them 100%. Even if you make the 30% commitment, you will have a fun time. Okay. Any other questions? Yes. So I would tell you, they invited, I'll tell you the, the story. They invited actually one of the actress, I forgot, Andrea. And until now, I'm figuring out why they invited her. And the song they played was, it's an erotic song in an investor meet. So the guy who was sitting next to me, who was from China, he asked, is this the culture of India to play erotic songs while you are actually in a global investor meet? I said, I'm still figuring that out. So I have no clue. I have no clue why they invited, but again, I think they got a little bit cheesy, but funny side aside, funny story aside, but I think it was a fantastic meet. What I was able to learn is how Tamil Nadu is setting the stage for the rest of the states. We have few bottlenecks that they have identified, and I'm sincerely hoping they will fix it because they have an aim to generate $1 trillion economy through investments by 2025. I believe that they can achieve it. They are 1/3 right now. And the amount of investments, they have shown the graph on all the states and how much investments are coming in. They are predicting that Tamil Nadu will top the rest of the states by 2025. And one of the reasons they said why companies are coming to Tamil Nadu when compared to other states is the amount of talent pool when it comes to AI and software development and also sheer creativity part. They said Tamil Nadu tops when compared to any other states. So kudos to you guys for setting the stage for the rest of the nation, because that was actually very heartwarming for us to know that Tamil Nadu is setting the stage. And I had the opportunity actually to also meet with the union minister there. So again, they are making big promises. I'm hoping that actually all will be delivered. But what's the news for Chargeback Gurus is we have made a commitment that we are going to grow and expand. And we believe that we are going to grow and expand because the amount of pipeline we have, the solid leadership with Tim and the sales team that we have created and the marketing team, I have 200% confidence that we're going to continue to grow. Did that answer your question? Any other questions? Thank you, guys. Wish you all a wonderful Pongal holidays. And, if at all, if there is anything I can do, you know how to reach out to me. We are an open forum. I'm in Teams. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Suresh. And as a token of our gratitude and a lot of love, I request Michelle to please hand this small memento to Suresh. I hope it's not heavy enough for you to carry it home.
See, I believe that we don't exchange gifts with family members. And I'm assuming I'm still a part of Chargeback Gurus.
You can assume it's part of the Secret Santa initiative and we're
Okay.
just giving it to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Guys, please help yourselves with snacks and thank you so much for your time.